Welcome everyone to Nico at Night. This is the first ever episode of 93.7 The Ticket, where I, Nico Schultz, the social media director of 93.7 The Ticket, brings on a special guest each week and introduces the fans of what it's like to either be a coach in Nebraska or be some part of an influential figure in the track and field community, sports community, and etc. So here today, I have my personal favorite coach, Coach Brenton Emanuel of Nebraska. He's the sprints coach, and this year he took on the role of assisting the mid D men in coaching. That's how me and him came about. Coach Emanuel, and he graduated from Plainfield High School from 1999 to 2003, which is personal to me because I graduated from Plainfield South from 2017 to 2021. So from 2004 to 2008, he was an athlete at Eastern Illinois, where he did the sprints from the 1, 2, 4x4. From there, he became an assistant coach. Oh, wait, sorry about that. When he was at Eastern Illinois, he was a team captain and he was an all-conference athlete. So from there, from 2009 to 2014, he was an assistant coach at Eastern Illinois, where he helped assist 8 school records. And then he became the head coach or the associate head coach at Illinois State from 2017 to 2018 after he became the assistant coach at Illinois State from 2015 to 16. He was nominated the coach of the year, helped assist 8 school records. And then he got a nice little promotion, went back to Eastern Illinois, became the director of track and field for 3 seasons at Eastern from 2018 to 2021, where he won 3-time Coach of the Year for the OVC Conference, helped assist 9 school records at Eastern Illinois. From there, he joined the Nebraska team in 2022, where he helped assist All-American Darius Luff and All Big Ten Championship team in the 4x4 in 2022 outdoors. Entering the 2023 season, Coach E helped assist 39 points at the Big Ten Championship. He was the Midwest Region Men's Assistant Coach of the Year for 2023 indoors. And this outdoor season, he helped the school record. He broke the school record in the 4x1 with 4 guys, where they ran 38.91. So, Coach E, people consider you arguably the best sprints coach in the country. How does that make you feel, man?
I appreciate you having me on your show, first of all. Second, I don't know who you're talking to. Just trying to get better every single day. I think Bus worked some really good athletes over the years, guys and women that really want to get better at their craft and they care about it. So I can't take all the credit for it. I just, a little plan up, they execute it, it goes fairly well.
I understand that. So from 2009 to 2023 currently, that's a lot of experience. What inspired you to become a head coach or an assistant coach back in 2009? What kind of got the ball rolling with that?
So for me, after I got done running, I was like so done with the sport. I was like, not done. I love track and field, watching it. But as far as like competing, I knew I wasn't gonna competing further than just in college. And so I was a graduate assistant in the Department of Fair, Eastern Illinois, doing compliance, doing a desk job, pushing papers all day. Did not like it. What I could do it as a profession, but it's not what I wanted to do. Being at a desk all day, stuck at a desk. And so I told my coach, head coach at the time, said, "Hey, I want to help you out." And through a couple of different circumstances, 2 coaches left, and so he asked me and 2 of my former teammates to help out, to help them finish the year in 13. And so I did that. And when I realized, it's like I loved it. And I kept telling him I wanted to get into coaching, I wanted to get into coaching, but I just didn't make the time for my desk job to get out there to help him. Well, in this situation, the AD is like, "Hey, can you help both of them situation? Can you do compliance and help with track?" And so I was able to get out there. And then by the middle of the season, I'm like, I'm not going back to that desk job. Like, I love this. And
He was locked in.
Yeah. And then basically they asked me at the end of the summer, "What do you want to do? You want to go back to compliance? You want to do coaching?" I said, that desk job will never see me again. I want to be a coach. And so I just kind of fell in love with that. And I knew I wanted to do it because I couldn't run any further. I knew that Olympics were not in my story. The guy that planned for me. And so coaching is a way for me to kind of still be involved in the sport and help watch other people grow and enjoy like the way that I do.
How can you relate being an athlete versus becoming a coach? How would you describe that? Do you still get the same nervousness or the same high that you did when you were a runner versus as a coach, or is it kind of 2 different worlds?
It's worse. Like the nervousness before
As a coach?
It's worse. Because for me as an athlete, I just go one event, I'm done. A couple events, I'm done. Really? Well, I got people with 3 heats of this, so 800. I got 3 heats of the 600, all that type of stuff. So for every athlete, I'm invested into what I do, and so I get just as worked up. Sometimes I got to play music to calm myself down. And you guys don't probably know it, but internally I'm going crazy just because I want to see you guys do well because I see the blood, sweat, and tears that you guys put into it. Um, and I want it just as bad for you as you want it for yourself. And sometimes that gets me in trouble because I want it more than other people do for themselves. But I get nervous before a lot of competitions. I think now I can control it better. No one ever knows, but more often than not, I'm pretty nervous.
Man,
But I can just control it better.
as an athlete, I really never even see that. You always look like you're cool, calm, and collected, which actually is going to lead me into my next point. How do you become so personable, but at the same time applying the discipline as a coach when it comes to coaching your athletes? Because honestly, for me personally, you're one of the most chill, laid back coaches I have. I feel like I can go to practice. We can talk about shoes. We can talk about sports. We can talk about anything but track, but at the same time, we're still getting the work done. So for you, how do you, have a good balance between play at work and then also work at your job?
I think something I learned from my coach and other coaches I've kind of had is just having that connection with somebody because if you show who you really are, people will buy into that and they will really be connected to you. So it's not like I try to do that just to get to know you. This is who I am. But, like I think by getting to know you better, asking those questions about shoes and whatever, I see your passion. And so I know that passion is inside of you. That's why we connect because we have that same type of passion. We like shoes, but we also like to win. And I think for me, I just try to be myself, not to make this job or this title more than what it is. I tell people the man makes the title doesn't make the man. So for me, like me being a leader, it's how I present myself every single day. And getting to know you and just talking to you is like that's better, and that'll reach you more than just like coming in yelling at somebody. That's not gonna reach anybody. Because I lived in a house and I love my mom to death, but that woman yelled at me every single day, and I got to the point where I could just block it out and just do what I had to do to get by. So I look at that and I say, okay, what reached me? When people brought me to the side and say, hey, I think you should work on this. I had a coach my freshman year of basketball, and I was kind of, I rolled my ankle. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life at that time. And he kind of called me out about the event. He says, you can either be this or you can get back out there. And I'm not gonna say what this was, but I'll let you know that it questioned my manhood, and I got back out there. And so but I learned it's like he brought me to the side. He's like, I believe in you. I know that you're tough. Get back out there. And so I saw that as a way of talking it to my athletes and getting them to know like, hey, I care about you, but I need you to do X, Y, Z too. So it's just me being who I am. I don't think I try to do anything differently, but I try to like you said, I'm always cool, calm, and collected. I just try to be calm because in the moment of a meet that's going on, everyone's freaking out. I can tell athletes are freaking out, and because I know you so well, I know when you guys are nervous. I know when Garrett's pacing back and forth. That man he's in his head. He's thinking about lots of things, and so I got to be calm. I can't yell at him. I can't talk to him. I know that when you do this to me and you don't respond with a word, you're deep in your thought and you're a little bit nervous. And so it's like, just be calm. I've had athletes that didn't do so well in an event at a meet. And I know if I just crack a joke, they'll just relax and they'll run well. Like a girl I coached at Eastern, she didn't do well in the open four. Her event was a 400 hurdles. Her baby is a 400 hurdles. As she's walking out, and I don't know what made me do this. Honestly, if I was a guy, I just did, hey, what kind of forever to her real quick. And she started laughing. She goes out, wins a 400 hurdles. She goes, Coach, I just needed that moment with you. Like, I don't know how you knew to do that, but it was funny. And it just helped me so much before my race. So it just, I don't know, just, I was built, I guess.
Man, so I know you came a really long way from talking to your older athletes, Julius Rivera, for example. Talking to him, he said
Yeah.
back in the day, things were pretty heated. Me and you even talked about situations in the past where you used to yell at your athletes, really get into them. So how did you end up maturing over the years? And it almost seems like as you were maturing, you were making more lateral moves in your job career too. Starting at, you started at Eastern as an assistant, then you got the head coach job at Illinois State, back to Eastern as a director, and now you're at Nebraska. Now you're contending for a national title within these next 3 to 4 years. So how can you talk about the growth when it comes to you as a coach and then also your position as well?
Yeah, I think, first off, for the position, I've worked with some good people, people that have helped me and guided me in this back to world community. Is very small. And, so anytime you have some type of success, people are watching. And so they want to help you and see you grow if you're doing the right things, if you're a good person. So first, I have to give thanks to my head coach at Eastern, the guy I worked for at Illinois State, Jeff Bovey, and then just the AD at Eastern when I went back. He believed in me. And sometimes, and also my boss at California University of Pennsylvania. I went to a small Division II school for 1 year, and then through that 1 year I was there, I learned so much about myself as a coach. But as far as developing, I think I just kind of grew up. I got more mature. I was young. I was, 25, started my first coaching job, and so you think you have to make this big statement, let people know you're the boss, and you want to change things around, so you have to come in really hard. But as I've grown up, it's like just talk to people, because and part of it, it affected my health because I'm going home, I can't sleep at night because I'm so angry about something. I said I got to do something better because me not sleeping at nighttime, this ain't it. This is not it. And so, as I realized, talked to one of the coaches about it. They said, "Hey, just talk to these kids. You don't got to yell." And I'm not, again, like I told you earlier, I was like, I grew up in a house where I get yelled at a lot, and so I saw that doesn't really do anything. So many people just block you out in their mind. But if you talk to someone man to man or woman to another adult, it's like they will accept what you say because you're talking to them and you're trying to hear what they have to say. And you're listening to them as well instead of just yelling. Because sometimes, like you as athletes or me as coach, we do things for a reason, and if you just blow up at that person, we'll never find out the reason why those things happen. And so I just kind of just grew up, and I realized health wise, it's not going to help me out. And then I have my own little kids, and so I have to save some of my little anger for them too. Um, but I just grew up, and I think it's better to communicate like that instead of getting all mad because it doesn't solve anything. That's what I kind of learned. And I used to hear coaches, some girls say, "Coach, you're so mean to us back in the day. You're so nice." And it's like that's not about being mean or nice. You guys needed that at that time. That's who I was at that time. But as you change, I change as well. It's just growth.
Right. Right. Man, that's actually really cool to see. I mean, you've been in the game for so long, over 10 years. And a funny story actually for all the listeners out there. So Coach E, originally, I went to his junior day back in 2019 where I was thinking about going down to Eastern Illinois. That's the first time where I ever met Coach E. And so during COVID in 2020, we did a little Zoom call, potentially offering up a scholarship, but things got kind of lost in the dust with the whole COVID situation. So I never talked to him again. And then I decided to commit to Nebraska in spring of 2021. And then later, about 3 weeks, for a month after my commitment, Coach E announced that he was leaving Nebraska, or sorry, leaving Eastern Illinois and then committing to Nebraska. And so it was crazy how that whole entire situation kind of worked out full circle because I thought Coach E was a super cool dude. And, shout out to Brandon Battle too, because Coach E somehow brought a kid like Brandon Battle, who was number one in the nation with the 46-2, almost broke the state record in Illinois, to a school like Eastern Illinois where he couldn't win anywhere, but he went there simply because of this man right here. So that's why early in the conversation where I said you're arguably one of the best coaches in the entire nation when it comes to sprints and arguably the coolest too. It's a really cool situation. To be able to bring somebody in like that just off of personality, that's deep. So, Coach T, a question I got for you is, can you describe to me what the track and field world was like 10 years ago in like 2013, 2014, and then where you think it's going within these next 10 years and, the transition of track over these last 20?
I think 10 years ago, you would see the middleman, mid-major schools would have more um, higher level success, like getting to nationals and have that type of success, getting to regionals. I remember when I was at Eastern as assistant coach, we had, I think it was like 26 people qualify for regionals at Eastern Illinois. And that was a pretty huge thing. And nowadays, they're lucky to get, 10 for the whole team. We had 26 across the board. And so I think, the performances have changed. The athletes are stronger, they're faster, they're eating better, the diets are better. I would say the coaching, but people, it's funny. You call me Coach E now. Back in the day, I used to be called Coach B, and I tell people, it's like Coach B and Coach E are two different coaches, and Coach E is a way better coach than Coach B was, and so um, I think the athletes have changed, the coaching has changed. The amount of volume people used to do just 10 years ago has been cut in half, or the way that it's done has changed a little bit to where athletes are a little bit more fresh. Like before it used to be kind of simple, like you do a lot of volume most of the year, you cut it down towards the end, people will run fast because they're not as tired anymore. It's like a pretty simple concept. But now you got different training systems that people are hitting now and just more scientific about it. Lifting is bigger. Even I was telling people when I was a student athlete, we used to do a mile warm up some days before in college. Our warm up every day as a sprinter was like a mile warm up for the first year or two. And I was like, man, this is terrible. Just little things like that. And I can only see it getting faster. I mean, this year we were on 38.91. We break the school record twice in the last 2 weeks of the year. The record that was 17 years old, which is, Nebraska's had some dogs come through these doors. And you look at, we're still second team All-Americans, but we're 15th in the country. Like 38.91 most years could have been the champion, could have been top three. and now you're talking about we're 15th. And you're looking at those things, you have 148. You have guys that were on the cusp of making nationals or being, top 12, top 15. Now it's like 148. It's like, it's good, it's great, but we're not going to go to national. You're going to be top 15, top 20 of the region. And it's crazy. So I think it's only going to get faster. I think COVID did set some things back. So you got some people that are 26, 27 that are still running. There's a kid the kid that won the 100 from Texas Tech this year, Courtney Lindsay. I remember recruiting him in high school. He
Yep.
was when I was at Illinois State. If I was at Illinois State, my last year was 2018. This is 2023, man. Like,
Like 26.
yeah, he's getting up there. But with this kind of I think the super conference is coming. We have USC, UCLA joining. I can only see that growing to just two big old conferences. And I know at some point they want to cut the little guy out, the mid major out. They just want to have like a Power Five type national meet. And so I see that happening soon. I don't know when, but it's coming now. And people are going to continue to get faster and faster. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I see the same thing. I think super spikes definitely has a part to play in. I mean, there's high school dropping, 356, 355 miles consistently. It's only going to get faster. Like you said, 148 back in the day, that would have been insane, but now it's good. You made it, top 20, top 15 of regionals, but now thinking about nationals, 144 low will win you it. So
yeah,
it's crazy how.
yeah. And I agree with the super spikes. I mean, those spikes. I was talking to a kid. So I worked at camp last week in Chicago, and that they were like, "I paid 190 for my spikes." Back in my day, I said this. I was like, "Man, I sound so old saying this." $100 would have got you a good pair of spikes.
Man.
Now $100 get you like the knockoff, not even with the little bubble or the cushion. It's like one girl's like, "Coach, I paid 300 for my spikes." I'm thinking like, you're in middle school. There's some spikes. What happened to just the old black Nike everyone gets, like the all-purpose spike that were like $25? Yeah, so they just call all-purpose spike. Everyone back in there, everyone had that. So that was the first pair of spikes. Was all-purpose. You could do it every event in them. They were clean. Now it's like
now you switch between the 4 and the 8 spikes. You can't wear the same spikes. You
no,
switch.
you can't. Nah, man, it's changed, man. It's changed.
Oh man, well I know this is NikoatNight. It's pretty late right now. You got to go to sleep. You got a family to take care of tonight. So the last question I'll leave you with: can you describe the team dynamic right now in Nebraska and where you think the direction of the team is headed with the new coaching change this year with Coach St. Clair, with you being more established within the sprints community? Where do you see the future of Nebraska?
I think this is a program that's going to be on the top really quickly. I was telling the kid, a kid asked me actually, I'm recruiting who's under the transfer portal from another Big Ten school. He asked me some questions like, what happened in Nebraska from last year to this year? And I said, well, first off, we had a head coaching change, and Coach Pevin had a great 42-year run, a lot of success, different mentality than Justin as far as like the team atmosphere aspect, not bad or anything either way, but, Justin's made a point to make sure that we come together as a family. And this team, I was talking to another crew today, like there's not arguments within our team. Maybe besides you and Nick, there's some disagreements. But that's just within the family. But there's a common goal of wanting to get to the biggest stage. And I think that's probably the biggest thing where everyone understands like what they have to do. It's like a family, it's tight knit, the 4x1 guys. That's a great example for our team. You have a hurdler on there, you have a long jumper on there, you have a short sprinter on there, you have a long sprinter. All different events can come together and get something done correctly. Our 4x4, you were on there as a half miler. You have a 400 guy that could be a 600, 800 guy if he decides he wants to do it, whatever. You got a 400 hurdler, and then you have whoever I can find that day to get a job, to get the job done. But it tells that our team is made up of guys that are all and women that are very successful and want to be at the highest level. You have people that in the throws that are going to compete in the World Championships this year, this summer. You have people that were national qualifiers as freshmen. You have a mentality that has changed where like it's always been the same goal, but now everyone wants to be at that top level, and I think that's what's changed. And just when you have good people around each other, and you have coaches that are relatable to you and can talk to you about shoes. I think I got the best shoe game within our coaching staff, and arguably the Big Ten.
Game in the college community.
I think that helps you because the athletes feel they can connect to you. Where if you're, not like that, you don't have the connection. It's hard for you to get these kids to come in here and buy into what you're saying because they're like, you don't act like the person I met on my visit. You act like a sergeant. It's like just be who you are. But I think this is one of the most exciting times to be a Husker. I think we're going to do things that never been done before. In the first year of me being able to kind of run the sprints by myself, I think there was a huge change in what we were doing, speed and power wise, on both the men's and women's side. To have a meet where 22 out of 27 kids PR, that doesn't happen very often. You have people feeling good, healthy, being healthy throughout the whole season and running, competing the whole season. I think there's a lot of good things that are going on. Just give us the time to cook. And we're gonna cook some people up, like Garrett would say.
Want to cook those guys up. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, from last year to this year, I was completely injured. Wasn't able to run any meets. Only ran one indoors, and then I was done for the whole year. But versus this year, from start to finish, I was good to go. No injuries into the summer. I have a full year under me now, thanks to you for treating me healthy and talking about Jordans the whole practice instead of worrying about track. So, but yeah, this will conclude NikoatNight, the first ever episode. Shout out to you, Coach E, for getting this whole entire thing started. We were talking about podcast ideas one night at the Lincoln spot, Laszlo's, and I told him, I was like, Coach E, I want to start a little business. I'm trying to get things going. I need some side cash. And he's like, NikoatNight. And then something about the way he said, like what you said earlier about the Wakanda Forever. I was like, NikoatNight, that kind of hits. So finished up the school year, got worried about the grades. Everything's good now. So now that I have the free time, this is the first ever episode of NikoatNight. Coach E, do you have any closing words for the first episode?
Nah, I appreciate you having me out here, man. And I think it's going to be very successful. Like, the NikoatNight's going to hit. I already know. So just remember us small people when you hit it big. You're big time, have your podcast on ESPN Sports, radio in a couple of years. Just remember who helped you out with this. Just give me my little kickback. That's all I need. I need a trip to the Caribbean. That's all I need for the family. That's all I need. But no, seriously though, man, come support my man out here, Nico, on NikoatNight. You learn a lot of good things about him and our program, and just talk to another good dude in the world. So check him out, NikoatNight.
Awesome, man. Thank you for the close, and shout out to 93.7 for letting me post this. And thank you. Goodbye.